Well, hello everyone. Tomorrow will be, let's see, today is September 3rd, and tomorrow will be 6 weeks since I've been practicing the cello. I've been practicing 4 to 5 days a week, no less than an hour a day, and I think it's been going pretty well. This is definitely the most challenging instrument I've ever tried to play. I played guitar and I played violin when I was little, and this is one of the most challenging instruments I've ever tried to play, but one of the most rewarding, just because of how beautiful the instrument sounds. I've gone through probably half of the book that I've been using, um, which is the one that I showed in my video before this, Cello Playing for Music Lovers. I highly recommend this book. It's actually written by an adult that used to play cello at a younger age and stopped for quite a few years and picked it back up when she became an adult. And this book was written by her, and I think it's laid out very nicely. The practice pieces are very nice. And today I'm practicing a piece that's actually not in the book. It's Johann Sebastian Bach, Minuet in C. So I've been practicing that one, and I think it's going pretty well. I'm still practicing in first position, although my lesson as of last week started fourth position, so that's why I have my fourth position tapes here. I've taken a couple of the first position tapes off, and I think my fingering's getting better as far as memorizing where my fingers go without looking. So I think I'm doing pretty well with that. I'm going to go ahead and play this Minuet in C. I still got a long way to go. I'm going to be practicing this one for probably another week or so until I feel satisfied with it. In between that, before I start playing music, I usually practice scales to warm up. Then I start with the lesson that I have for today, which, like I said, I'm learning fourth position now. But I did seem to, when I got to the lessons for fourth position, I felt like I hit a roadblock. I felt like now all of a sudden I know all these notes in first position, all these notes in fourth position, but I was having a hard time reading what I saw on the pages in front of me. So I took a step back the last 3 or 4 days and started studying the key signatures and just paying more attention to that, so that when I look at a piece of music, I can look at the key signature and know exactly if I'm going to be what flats and what sharps I'm going to be playing. And I think that's going to help me out as I start to learn fourth position and put all of this together that I have learned so far. So let me go ahead and play this Minuet in C. not too bad. It's not perfect, but I'm happy with it. You have to learn to accept the mistakes, and as long as you can understand why you made the mistakes. Mostly for me, it is I guess converting the notes to finger positions. Sometimes I get myself confused with that. So I think I'm doing pretty good though. I'm satisfied with that. I've played it better, but this is what I played today. So I am happy with my bowing hand. I feel like I was having a lot of trouble with the bowing hand before. Getting a lot of, mostly it was because my thumb, I didn't realize that I was locking my thumb up instead of keeping that bend that you're supposed to keep in there. I kept doing this and then just putting a lot of pressure there. Then my fingering hand over here, I think I'm getting better with it. I was told by someone online, a cello teacher online, had commented on I think it was my second video, and I never knew that whenever I was playing, for instance, I would keep this finger up, and he recommended that I need to put that finger down whenever I put the third finger down. So that was something that I didn't realize I was doing until I went back and watched the videos. So it's kind of good to record yourself, even if you're not putting your videos on YouTube, but to record yourself so you can go back and look at your bowing hand and your fingering hand and make sure that your wrist looks good and your form looks good. And that was one thing that I never noticed that I was doing until he brought it to my attention. I noticed that this second finger was way up here anytime I put my third finger down or fourth finger down. So now I've been concentrating on that, and it helps. By doing that, it's helping the notes to sound a little more solid, putting a little more pressure down on the string. So it just sounds better. So I've been practicing that, getting those fingers down, making good contact with the string. I still have a lot to learn, but I feel like everything's starting to come together, especially with the first position. One thing I think I need to do is just slow down and spend more time on pieces that I'm practicing. I tend to get a little frustrated with myself because I know how it's supposed to sound. And so sometimes I'll play something, and if I can't get it, I'll move on to something else and give myself a break. I got to give my mind a break. There might be some part in there that's just really challenging. I just, for some reason, just can't seem to grasp it. So I'll move on to something else, and then I'll come back to it later, and all of a sudden it's become easier. So I think it's good not to just get stuck on one piece and keep practicing it over and over and over. Sometimes that's not the best way to practice something. You got to learn to accept the mistakes that you make. And eventually, sometimes those mistakes will just work itself out somehow by you practicing doing other lessons and practicing other pieces. So that's where I'm at right now. So my tip today would be to slow down, allow your mind to process what it is you're playing. One good tip that I got from person online is to never start learning a song, using your bow. But instead, before you even start bowing that song, do a pizzicato. That way you can understand how the tune is supposed to be, and you're not concentrating on too much at one time when you're learning a new piece. If you do it pizzicato at first, you're concentrating on the notes, the proper fingering position, instead of concentrating on your fingering position and notes and the bowing hand and getting the bowing right, you you give your mind a little less to take in. So by doing pizzicato, it it helps to understand the song that you're playing, and then once you feel comfortable with the song in your head and where the fingering position and everything, then you can go and play it with the bow. And for me, I think that has helped out a lot. So that would be probably the biggest tip that I would give you is on each new piece that you try to learn, start it off with pizzicato first to get the sound of the song in your head, and that way your mind can start to understand exactly what you're trying to do, where you need to place your fingers, and work that out first. Then once you feel comfortable with that, then go ahead and start bringing in the bowing and putting it all together. So some other stuff that I've been practicing, which is a lot harder, is from the Sebastian Lee, the some etudes from the Easy Etudes Sebastian Lee book. This is one that I've been trying, and I'm nowhere close to getting it, but I like to try it because it when you practice etudes, they really help with your technique. Especially, one thing I need to practice is slurs, especially when it's slurring more than 4 notes in one bow stroke. I'm not very good at it, so that's something that I've recognized and I need to practice that. So I've noticed that when I do slurs, if it's 4 notes, I do okay. The sound sounds pretty good, but if it's more than 4 notes, I need to work on my bow speed. So if it's more than 4 notes, I feel like I start losing the quality of the sound. Like I start playing lighter as I get to the end of the bow because I feel like I'm running out of bow. So that's a problem I'm having on this etude here. So first, what I like to do first is play it without the slurs. So those are the first 4 measures, and I kind of like to stick there. I can play the whole thing, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself, so I try to stick right there and play that. And like I said, I'll play it without the slurs a few times, and then I'll start bringing this, introducing the slurs to it. Introduce the slurs. See, I feel like whenever I have more than 4 notes in a slur, that if I have 4 notes, I can do okay. See, but it should sound. See, and I'm at the end of the bow already. So the video, I'm going to put some links to some online lessons that have helped me out a lot. There are several people that I follow and I get a lot of tips from you know rosin, what rosin to use, just fingering positions and how to relax and bowing, and there's just so many people online, so many resources on YouTube that you can learn by yourself. If you are not able to afford a getting a teacher, then don't let that stop you. You can get a good book like what I have here, or the Suzuki books. There's other books out there, and get on YouTube. And if you're a good self starter and self learner, you can get started on your own, and with input from other people giving you tips, just take those tips and apply them. From other people that are a little more experienced than you. When they give you those tips, just apply those tips, and you'll see how much it helps. I'm excited that I've made it this far. Um, I'm starting to learn pieces like this, and it puts a smile on my face when I hear it, and when I play something all the way through, and I think I played it pretty good. It's such a great feeling. So stay motivated, keep going, don't give up, and learn to accept your mistakes.